How's it going, folks? Rob here. Welcome back to the channel. We're on Forza Horizon 5 again for part 2 of me making my own racetrack on Event Lab Island. This is my mountain track, which is a homage to an abandoned racetrack slightly west of Sydney down here in Australia. It's called Catalina Park Raceway. It is not the same, but I took inspiration from it, and with the layout of... Let's get into the blueprint. I had to change the direction of the track, because where the start line starts on Event Lab Island, we're right next to the water, and in the real world, the track goes all the way around to the left. We obviously can't do that, so I've gone to the right instead, and I've changed a few things around. All right, so let's zoom all the way out. There's quite a lot of draw distance pop in, but yeah, you just got to ignore it. It does look a bit stupid from this far out. There's a lot of trees. This is a really foresty, mountainous track. It doesn't look at it right now, but when you look at it from the underside, it's like looking... Look at the plumber's crack. It's not something you want to look at from this height, but yeah, down below, I think it looks pretty good. There's a few spots here and there where I did struggle to get the track to feel right. This is the first track I've built where it's got elevation changes. Normally they're flat because I can't always get the track to feel good. Like, because these are straight bits going into another straight bit, and you've got to level it out a bit. Some of these little kinks here can make the car a little bit unsettled. There's a few others around it are a little bit worse. Now, this is obviously up in the air, so there's a lot of vacant ground underneath the track. All the way around, the whole thing's elevated except for a few spots near the pit straight. So to stop you falling off the edge, I've put a few of these massive concrete blocks underneath a lot of the corners near the curb, so hopefully if you do run wide on some, you're probably not going to get the car back. So just maybe good tips on braking. So on the inside of the track mostly is these high NASCAR fences to stop you tumbling off. Typically on the outside on the left is where the mountain grass section is. I've tilted the grass to give it a hill of mountain effect, so that should stop you going in. And anyway, the trees are going to knock you back off anyway, but if you're going that fast that you shoot off up the top there through the trees, you kind of deserve to go off the edge. So I'm going to make our way slowly up the hill. This is it's not exactly a super tight corner, but you do pick up a bit of speed down here before you climb to the top of the mountain up here. So you're going to be a little dab of brakes, drop down a gear, then you got to climb back up. It does get a bit bumpy up here. There's not much I can do because of the way it's... I could have had it go directly straight up so it's smooth, but I like the fact that it does rise and fall. The track this is based off was quite bumpy anyway and very hilly, a lot of, elevation changes, so I kind of wanted to copy it. And up the top here, we got a very tight right corner which comes around, but once you get to these flags here, it does get tighter again. Even in testing, after I designed the track, I went off here quite a lot. So there's concrete barriers down there. Concrete blocks, and then I've covered it up with the bushes because this is my own version of like the dipper or the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. This is nothing compared to what the real track is that I'm basing this off, the one in the Blue Mountains in Sydney. Overall shape's kind of similar, but then I went a bit crazy, and now this has turned into like a mountain road. You'll understand it gets quite windy, and yeah, I quite like the way this turned out. You can't see shit just hovering in midair, but as you can see, there's concrete barriers everywhere to stop you falling off the edge. But again, with the big NASCAR style fencing, you're not going to go off the edge, and when you're car level, you can't see all the little bits and bobs that, yeah. So yeah, there's quite a few chicanes here, as you can see. These are you got to watch your speed coming here. I'll take the car around in a minute so you can see, but for here, you can pretty much, have to slalom, keep some speed up, but then all of a sudden here, this last corner, which I made a little bit tighter, you've got to hit the brakes, otherwise you're going into this and you're going off. Again, there's some concrete under the bushes. But yeah, I was quite happy with the way it turned out. I think it looks pretty good. It's quite fun to drive through there. And if you do make it through here, not hitting the tyre wall, you can pick up a bit of speed, make your way down. I've got another kink to the right. Again, we've got another tight left-hander down to second gear for most cars that I've driven. You can go off the edge if you overshoot it, as you can see. And there's a bit of a drop from the track down to the ground, so you're pretty much not going to get your car back up. But over on this side, on the exit, in case you do run wide, there is some concrete slabs. You've got about 1.5 meters before you're off the edge, and then, well, you're stuffed. All right, so as you can tell, I wanted this a foresty mountain track, so there's bushes and trees everywhere. I was able to get quite a lot in, which is good. It's quite an enclosed space. You're not really getting a lot of big speed through here. So little C and B class cars feel very, very quick. All right, now come up here. You'll see a lot of these corners. I put these red flags. That's to let you know you need to hit the brakes. Every corner's got the arrows so you know where it's going to go, because there are drop-offs. Because you imagine coming up here at 150 odd clicks an hour, and all of a sudden you got this. This is basically like another corkscrew dipper. Again, concrete just to try and fill the void, because as you can see, yeah, it just drops off and vanishes completely. I left this a bit open and exposed. You don't really see it because you're so focused on the racing line. But again, just the bushes and the trees just to fill it up, and I quite like the look of it. I'm pretty happy with the way it's turned out, considering I've never built a track before that uses elevation. Again, we've got another tight left there climbing up, so you're going to break down a little bit to second gear. This is why I don't particularly build elevated tracks, because I can't get these to sit flat. Every one of them's out from either direction. You don't really feel it as you're driving. My OCD doesn't like it, but as you're driving around in the couple of cars I've tested this track on, it's more bumpy on the long straights over here where that green archway is. It's bumpier up there than it is actually here where the track's not lined up correctly, but it's just we're limited to what we can do with these tracks. It doesn't sync up great when you're going uphill, so I'm hoping when we go to Japan in the next game, they've changed the way these lay out and some shapes of them so they connect smoother if we're doing tight corners up and downhill. But yeah, work your way through here. This is just a concrete mess. Look at it. It's but whatever. You're not seeing it. That's just there to stop you from, because directly under that is a sudden drop all the way down to the bottom of the map. So yep, that is purely there to stop you tumbling down into the void, just like these, as you can see, all the way through the gap. But yeah, you're not getting through this the NASCAR fences, which is why I've got them on the inside of the track where there's a big drop down. So yeah, work your way through here, up along here. Now this one can be a bit tricky if you're building up some speed, because there's a sudden drop off down to the right and you're going to run wide, which is why I've extended the track a little bit with some concrete extenders. But again, not all the way, because if you do fall off the edge and get stuck, it'd be a little bit amusing for me. So yeah, hard on the brakes where the fences and the flags line up. You can carry a little bit of speed here. You don't have to go full brakes. You're not really gathering enough speed, but it's a bit of a decline, so your brakes are going to get a bit of a test. Again, down here, it's fairly more flat. This is the flatter part leading onto pit straight. Then we have another right here, another right, and then we kink onto the left. And then we are onto pit straight and back at the start. That is it. That is my racetrack. It's not an exact replica of the track I mentioned, which I showed the picture of earlier, but you can get the idea. It's a fun little thing. Driving around in some B-class cars, I was doing under minute 30. It's 2.5 Ks long. It's not very long, so I'm going to quickly go for a drive in the Mini Cooper. All right, so I got my little D-Class Mini Cooper, which normally would be laughable, but in a tight track like this, it does actually feel fairly quick. And the other reason why I picked this car is back when this racetrack was in its prime, back in the 60s and 70s, little Mini Coopers raced around here up against, big V8 Falcons and Ford Falcons. So, yep, it does feel good. I like the flow of this track. Like I said, it is bumpy. You're going to see that as you're going along. Now, this is a D-Class car, as you can see, 500. It's got 105 horsepower, but it zips around here pretty good. Little dab on the brakes, run a bit wide. That's not too bad. Bigger cars are going to struggle, I imagine. I've only driven up to B-Class, so I don't know how they're going to go, but I quite like the feel of it. I wish we could get the tracks to be a little bit smoother. As you can see, it is a bit bumpy, but I do like running down here. As I said, the first few are pretty easy. You're going to dab of brakes, otherwise you're going to slam into that tyre wall. But it is quite fun going down in a few cars I've driven. Down here, hard on the brakes, down to second. Don't run wide because you're going off the edge. I ran wide. That's all right. It's all part of the fun. Work our way up here. We've got another decrease downhill. Call that the mini corkscrew. Work our way along here. This corner is this looks tighter than it looks, so you've got to be a bit more prepared for it. Work our way up here. Little front-wheel drive cars, not too bad around here. You're going to have a big high-power horsepower car. You're probably going to struggle for grip. Probably could have just taken that flat out, really, to be honest. This car's not very fast. Doesn't have the best brakes in the world, plus I'm not driving it the greatest in the world, but who cares? That is the track. I hope you enjoy it. The share code is down below. Let me know what you think. Probably, yeah, when I first made the video, it was about an hour or so, just under an hour, laying out the track and how I want it to go. Probably an hour and a half for the last 3 nights to do all the decorating. That's the part that takes the longest. I probably could have done a lot more decorating. I only used about 70% of the prop count, but I'm just quite happy. It gets to the point you put too much on, it can get a bit flooded, and so you've got lots of different varieties of trees all the way around, and bushes and all sort of shrubs and whatnot along the sides just to kind of fill it in. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Considering it's my first track with mountains and hills and stuff, I think it did all right. This corner here is quite challenging if you've got a faster car. As you can see, some dips back there in the track with the curbs. You don't really feel them that much. You're not going to get thrown around again. It's hard to get things lined up when you're going up and down a hill. This is why I typically, bad gear changes. I typically do flat tracks because it's a lot easier to get things to line up and look good. But yeah, quite like the feel of this one. This is probably going to be the last track I build on Forza Horizon 5. There's no real point doing any more, I don't think. I'm going to cut the corner, but I did put concrete on that corner. I can't remember. When you're coming around this corner, especially when you're in the cockpit mode, you can't really see where the track's going, so it does drop off. I wanted that last section to really feel like a windy kind of mountainous road, and I think I did a pretty good job. I think so. So down in the comments below is the share code. Have a download, go for a cruise. Let me know what you think. As you come across the line, and this D-Class car did a 1 minute 40. Could go a little bit faster if I drove properly, but to give you an idea, if you've got a decent powered car, you're going to get around here fairly quick. So yeah, that is it. That is Catalina Park Raceway. I'm Rob. Cheers for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.